Inc. on the left. My name is TheSavedOne, and joining me is Stretch. How you doing after that set, man?
Dude.
Yeah, I messed up a little bit on that intro, so it's a one for one. So doesn't matter too much. Bans already coming out here in this game. It's gonna be the Swain, Kale, and as well the Graves.
Graves so strong on the current meta, able to clear that jungle without losing almost any HP, so very strong pickup. Interesting to see the Swain and Kale bans, though. It looks like these guys must have done some research on this team here, so good on them to get that out of the way.
Love it when you have a coach right by your side to say, all right, you ban this, you pick this, and this,
come back stronger.
And you go out and you basically try and win the draft as much as possible. But final two bans, Katarina and the GP as well. Katarina is a very strong champion right now, while GP is kind of on the shorter end.
Yeah, GP takes so long for him to wind up into relevancy, so it's a very vulnerable champion in the early game. Katarina, by the other side of the coin, is strong almost at every single phase in the game and only gets stronger as she picks up gold, highly mobile, lots of burst damage, and huge outplay potential as well. So if you know how to play that champion and you've got her in your back pocket, gotta ban that one away.
Already, one of the picks going out for Relegades Inc. is going to be that Lulu, and it's a very strong champion to first pick as well.
So much denial of engage potential on that Lulu, able to keep the back line alive for a long period of time, so seeing that one go away means that they're expecting the enemy team to be quite aggressive. You might want something else to maybe help with an engage, but Lulu can do that too, so kind of a Swiss Army knife of supports. Lulu's got everything but the healing.
Yep, it's a very strong champion. It provides the wild growth CC and as well any types of slows and just damage overall in the support role. We usually see the utility style supports nowadays come around. Lulu's slowly coming back into the meta, but to answer that Lulu, we've got Fizzy on that Lucian, and as well Nami in the bot lane to support it.
We've seen the Lucian in the previous game as well. The Bork Black Cleaver build is fantastic at shredding tanks, and the Nami is perfect to pair up with it if you don't have your hands on the Lulu. So Lucian able to go aggressive in this lane matchup despite what the enemy is going to be picking here, and still be able to stay high life with the ebb and flow proc coming out of L358, who's notoriously, I think, still at the bottom of the in-house ladder. I gotta give that a little shout out. But anyway, I expect to see lots of aggression coming out of Lil Stevie and L358 for Barney's Brigade.
Even though he's at the bottom of the ladder, he's a really good support if you basically just give him a good ADC in some cases. Because I've absolutely seen L3 pop off in some games, and it's very scary to see his support style plays. But going on over onto the side of the Relegades, they've got that Olaf and as well as that Ezreal in that bot lane.
Lots of late game potential coming out of the Ezreal with the buffs to Blade of the Ruined King. He's got so much on-hit damage available to him through the Mystic shots, which apply on-hit effects. So Ezreal, very strong at the current meta, especially if you're able to build yourself up to the Muramana. And with the popularity of Lulu, Olaf is coming back into favor. The speed buff that she offers, combined with the knock-up with the wild growth, means that it's a fantastic engage option, and it makes it so much more difficult to actually escape from his clutches, especially when you've got Glitterland slows coming out from him on top of the undertows as well. So Olaf, once again, I expected this to be another strong jungle champion that we see continuing on in the later stages of the Elder League season.
And I usually bash on casters for analyzing these troll style picks, but I don't know, Teemo, he's not a horrible champion.
Placeholders, man, placeholders.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, placeholders are a thing, but Orianna and Iron as well being locked in over onto the side of Barney's Brigades.
And that screams we're putting a lot of our trust in our bot laner, or maybe they've got something cooked up for the top lane. Camille is still wide open, and sending Camille into the middle of the enemy team with an Orianna ball on her back is not a bad idea. So if they go for that top lane pickup, they've got the support to make Camille an absolute menace. But if they really trust in Lil Stevie on this 80 carry role, they got the protection to keep him alive. 3 support options, assuming that Orianna's not going to be playing super aggressive here, but either way, the shields are there to keep Lil Stevie alive, and top lane, we'll see what they end up trying to counteract with here.
It looks like it could either be a flex pick, Yasuo in the mid lane, Jace in the top lane, or Jace in the mid lane and Yasuo in the top lane. Either way, that's a Yasuo locked in over onto the side of the Relegades.
And either way, it's very AD carry. I mean, AD heavy, going a heavy tank at the top lane's a good option here, but the one that I'm expecting them to look forward to is Malphite. No, they don't go for it. Okay, that's perfectly fine. They pick up the Nautilus instead, and we'll be resetting this one as, I guess one of these champions was a placeholder. See what this ends up being for, as look forward to seeing them pick up something interesting going on into the later stages of this champ select.
And what I really do love about watching new teams come in and just a whole entire season starting out is both of these teams have something to prove. Every single game counts and every set matters, because every single win could mean 3 points or just 1 point. Because if we're going in the system as we're using right now, if you go 2-0 in a set, you get 3 points. If you tie, you get only 1 point for each team. But if you lose it all, you go 0-2, then you just basically get 0 points. But so if a team can come out and make a large impact at week number 1, they can come back next week and make an impact again, then the points eventually add up, and it's very impactful going on later into the season.
For a team that constantly goes 2-0, it's actually very difficult for a team that constantly goes 1-1 to catch up to them. So think about it like this, right? A team that goes 2-0 twice has 6 points. A team that goes 1-1 twice has 2 points. It's difficult to close that gap at that point. You really need to pop off the next 2 weeks, getting 2-0 in at least one of them, to make sure that you start closing that gap in any feasible way, or you have to just bank on the enemy that you're trying to catch up to really messing up in their league matches here. So getting your early stability in these early weeks is crucial for these teams.
And even then, if they come back that next week and, you know, they're 4 points down, that means that they have to go 2-0 in some way. But that also means that the enemy team that they're facing, or whoever's in that first place spot, also has to go 0-2. So it's a lot of just math adding up and subtracting and all of this fun little things to talk about. But as we usually do in game number 1, I want to go lane by lane. So talking about this just a little bit more, Jace versus Nautilus in the top lane, how does it play out?
So Jace actually is susceptible to some decent ganks here. Ivern coming up in the top lane with the Nautilus means that they've got so much almost guaranteed CC that they can catch this Jace with, that he's got to be actually careful with his positioning and his aggression in the top lane. Now, something that we saw last night on the other end is Olaf, if he comes up to that top lane for the counter gank, he can really affect that matchup, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to touch on the ticking time bomb that is this Nautilus, because when that shield starts to grow and he starts to get the resistances he needs to negate enemy damage, it becomes very difficult to trade back and forth with him. He just kind of presses E, snares you in place, and walks away before you can really get anything done. Jace having that range advantage does give him an opportunity to really poke him down from a longer distance before he can really risk getting anything traded onto him. So he does have that advantage over most other melee champions in the top lane. So hopefully Red Flame Evolved can get some decent damage down onto this Nautilus. Lion Poner hopefully going to be able to find his own stability there. I'm rooting for both these top laners as they both have definitely different goals in this lane here.
After we get through that top lane analytics, we're moving on over to the jungle. Olaf versus Ivern here in this game.
I was speaking on it before. Ivern coming up to the top lane is very potent. They've got the CC guarantee on the Nautilus passive, allowing them to keep Jace in place, Red Flame involved. There's not a lot of damage between these two guys, or at least it doesn't look like it, but Nautilus does do a surprising amount. So if he's held up in place by one thing, it's just going to chain into 3 additional seconds of more CC. So he's got to be careful where he is. White Rob by the other side of the coin can come up and really destroy that 2v2 though if he's able to get into a good position. The one problem is he can't really initiate that fight because there's too much kite potential between Fizzy and Lion Poner. So if he can get up there second, he should be fine, but otherwise he's really got to be patient.
Going through that jungle, it's going to be a very interesting matchup to see which jungler can come on top. Axes cut down trees after all, but sometimes the tree has a bigger root than expected. But going on over onto the mid lane, we got Diana versus that Orianna, and this is a very cool matchup to watch as well.
It's actually really interesting because the start of this game is going to be a lot of Orianna using her passive to just get auto attack damage down onto Brigade. So hopefully, amazing Wing Wang can get his pressure down there before he actually gets to level 6, because Diana does a surprising amount of burst between her Q and R combo. Getting that double tap on the R just chunks people down so quickly, and Orianna's not going to be too concerned about dying herself. It's more about Diana roaming to this bottom lane and affecting the Lucian and Nami. Those are the two champions that are really susceptible to the Diana burst, so if she can keep the Diana in check, amazing Wing Wang should have no problem keeping the rest of his team alive.
Going through the top, jungle, and mid, it looks like it's going to be awesome to watch these guys battle it out. But as we have 35 seconds left, let's go on into the bot lane. Ezreal, Lulu, Lucian, Nami there.
It's so much harass coming back and forth. There's a lot of early game damage coming out of the Sandwalker and Samano, so if they can get the damage in against Lil Stevie and L358, that's fine, but it's all about shield management for the shield of the Sandwalker and timing on the Polymorph. He does not want to stack those two abilities together, because if you do, you're going to get out-sustained by the Nami healing. Ebb and Flow is one of the best support abilities in the game, able to damage and heal 3 people off one spell. That's absolutely ridiculous. So if they're able to manage the cooldowns properly, they should have a fine time. Otherwise, Lil Stevie and L358 are going to just roll it over.
We're going to be heading on into this game, guys, but do not go anywhere. We've got game number 1 of set number 2 here of this night. Right back. You do not want to miss it. Just stay tuned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the second set of tonight. We've got the Relegades on the blue versus Barney's Brigades on the red. My name is TheSavedOne on your play-by-play casting commentary, and I have stretched over on that color casting commentary. How do you feel after that draft?
Pretty interesting draft here. A lot of aggression on both sides that can really capitalize on some misstepping here, so I'm looking to see the catches come out.
But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's go over these two team comps. Over onto the blue side, we have the Relegades. Red Flame evolved in the top lane. FOF, White Raw in the jungle. Cyber to God in the mid lane. Samano on AD. And the Sandwalker on support with their coach. It's Nick Cage.
And over on Barney's Brigade, we've got Benia, Lion Poner up in the top lane, Fizzy in the jungle, Amazing Wing Wing in the mid lane, Lil Stevie on AD carry, and L358 on support with Coach Apricot.
Heck yeah. So right now, see the rest of Relegades, or wait, no. We see the rest of Barney's Brigades go into the enemy jungle. I got the names mixed up for a sec. But we see them go into the enemy jungle. They step on nothing but a ward, but a little bit of cheesing happening right here. You usually don't expect this come out from teams. You usually see them get, I guess, caught out in that tri-bush, but maybe FOF White Raw getting caught out here. He is. He's got that ghost available to him. No flash, but that's the double shot. And first blood going on over to Lucian.
Yeah, Lil Stevie might even be able to find some time to go back to base and purchase, because he does not need to get any assist or give any leash to Fizzy, who's on that Ivor, and so getting that early longsword purchase would give him a huge advantage in this lane. He's just going to play it out as is, though.
Yeah, and this is also the point where you really do have to buckle down as a team and get full 100% focus into the game. Once you're in it, you have to pay attention at every single second because you don't know what's going to happen with the enemy team. And we saw there right in that bush that the red team, they went into that bottom lane, they went into the tri bush, they got spot out, and I'm guessing the two members at that red buff got a little bit spooked. One of them had to blow a flash, but White Raw didn't really blow anything, but he died. So that's impactful going towards the bot side of the map as well. Ivern going to the enemy jungle, the counter jungle.
Giving up that first blood's going to be a hard deal for him here. No leash coming out of... Wow, early kill,
A lot of damage coming out from Low Sleep, but he doesn't even know about the heal. Gonna save him as well. Double shot upon double shot there in that bot lane. Lucian doing a lot there and almost getting the kill. White Raw falling. Jeez, that scared me. That had me on the edge of my seat for a sec.
Yeah, well, and the reason he went that low is because he actually started that Raptor camp. So he's looking to rush the level 4 as soon as possible, so he didn't have a lot of health and mana to take down that red buff.
Bubble goes wide there in that bot lane. Usually what I do as a jungler is I go start Wolves because it's the easiest camp to start, but even then, it's not that, I guess, great, but it's a little bit more sustained coming out in the jungle. But Olaf opting to start that Raptor camp. He did it solo, did not get a leash there. But Ivern doing exactly what Ivern does, going into the enemy jungle, counter jungling him as much as possible in the mid lane. A lot of poke going down from Amazing right there. But Ivern as well going into his own jungle, maybe even into the enemy jungle, trying to find an Olaf. Maybe at some point, that could be Olaf's opportunity to maybe go in, because Ivern isn't really good alone, but Jace has that advantage in that top lane going towards Fizzy. Undertow #1 hits, but Diana as well is coming there. Flash over the wall, flash for flash going down there in the top side of the map. Ivern finds his way over the wall, but very low HP. He's on like 2 HP right there, Stretch. That's so insane.
Get this money!
Can he find the last Undertow in order to get the kill? Answer's gonna be maybe yes, but the thunder comes down from the sky. FOF right, White Raw says, get out of my jungle. What are you doing there? Yeah, I got the rest of my lanes to back me up. And that's one kill going on over to the Olaf there on this blue team.
Yeah, Ambitious invade coming out of Fizzy up on the top side of the map there is interesting because Red Flame Evolved was completely pushed up to Lion Poner's turret, and that would have been a fine gank for him to go through. Yes, the minion wave was stacked up, but all you have to do is wait just a little bit for it to thin out underneath the turret, and you can get an easy kill on the Jace. Instead, he ends up giving away his double buffs and now puts Olaf back in the game.
Rest of this red team is just resetting after that little bit of a hiccup. First blood went on over to Lucian in this bot lane. Doesn't have the advantage that for the time being because he didn't go back to base. But Olaf finding his way back into the game because he got a kill onto the enemy jungler. And now we're going to be seeing Olaf expand his lead into these different lanes. Coming towards... Yeah, he's coming towards this bot side. Exhaust goes down right there. Exhaust for exhaust, but Olaf is coming in from the left side. He lands the first Undertow as well as the little slap chop right there. Ezreal applying a lot of damage. Flash in the Q. Did not get the final kill. That was very close there. Flashes the mastery because he knows he made a little bit of a mistake. But that's a dead Lucian at the end of the day. Another kill going on over to this Olaf, and he's just getting that much more fed.
Yeah, and a little bit of a misplay there from White Raw. He had an axe he could have picked up to reduce the cooldown of Undertow and pick up the second kill on Nami, but going in towards the turret, he actually missed it and chose to not, like, do a little sidestep and pick it up. They needed the additional slow to get the one more auto attack from Ezreal to pick up that kill, and because he didn't grab that axe, they only get 1 kill instead of the 2.
Ivern may be getting caught out here in the bottom side of his own jungle. But he's down in this bot lane for a very good reason. This dragon is very impactful, but in the top lane, it's almost kind of like Nautilus is lagging a little bit, but knows that he can go up that far since he knows he has mana, and the enemy top laner doesn't. But both are very low on HP and mana, so they're going to be backing to base here in this game. Just gonna get the items that they do need to expand their lead. Just a little bit more. Ivern as well, just picking up any camp that he can, and it's almost kind of, it's a little bit bad for Ivern because he takes camps so fast that it's almost kind of like, all right, when does this camp come up? It's a little bit, it can mess with you just a little bit.
And the pathing on Ivern is very strange because the way that it operates is you prep your camps and then you go do something else, then you come back to your camp. So your gank pathing is kind of you just walking from base to the lane, but you make tiny little pit stops, and then you farm after you return back in. So timing your camps as they come up is a little bit weird, but like you said, if you can do it correctly, you can get a lot of advantage out of it.
A lot of aggression going down in the mid lane. And the ultimate's coming out from Diana over and over again. She doesn't have any more mana to spare her anything. The shockwave coming out in the mid lane as well. Misses the auto attack from the Orianna there in the mid lane. She's got that ignite. So if needed, she could have aggressed onto Diana there. Ivern as well comes down into the mid lane. He's got one of his camps up. He put that little friend of the forest buff on it. If needed, he can go back into his own jungle, but goes into the enemy jungle, picks up a blue buff for his troubles. But in the bot lane, a lot of aggression going down from Samano. He's into the fight, but he's finding himself in a very sticky situation. He'll have to be popped there in that bot lane as well. Glitter Lance dropped onto Lucian, but a very even trade in the bot lane as well.
Lucian can afford to be a little bit more aggressive here as well. He's got both the lifesteal from a Vampiric Scepter and a Nami support, so as long as he trades hard and doesn't die, he's going to continue having advantages here in this lane. He needs to make sure that he recognizes that fact and just goes very aggressive whenever he goes into a trade, sticking in probably 30% longer than you normally would.
In the mid lane, a lot of mana going very low, but the flash and the shield upon shield kills Diana there in the mid lane, trying to flash to her advantage. But that's a dead Diana there in the bot lane as well. In the bot lane, the ultimate plus that Ragnarok. It doesn't matter that you exhaust him, buddy. That's a dead fish. Do you like sushi, Stretch? I freaking love sushi.
Dude, it's delicious, man. And especially when it's fresh like that, too. Just slices them up right down there, cooks them up, no problem. And now there's a window for the Relegades to go in and pick up this air drake. That's going to be fantastic for their Olaf, getting him into the middle of these team fights. So looking to pick this one up early on and get that mobility.
Once you get a fed Olaf with his Ragnarok and his Ghost, it's nothing but speed there. In any of these lanes, and a very beautiful opportunity there as well. Ivern making his way towards the top side. He has all of his utility available to him. Nautilus looking to aggress in this huge minion wave that he does have. Depth charge going down onto him. Flashes away from the Ivern for the time being. Fizzy just does not path correctly there in the top lane. He's very indecisive about everything. Can the hook land? But finds a kill there in that top lane. The flash and just the Q there in that top lane. Shockwave into the mid lane as well, finding the kill onto Diana, overextending upon overextending there in the mid lane. And Orianna is now sitting on 2-0-1. That's insane.
Unlucky play coming out of line there. He looks at the sun for too long and ends up hurting his own eyes. Goes down to the shock blast combo there, and too much ambition coming out of Cyber the God in the mid lane here. He knows that he's got some decent damage potential, but his aggression is only putting him farther back in this matchup. Now 2 kills down, an assist down, and 22 farm on top of this as well. He's sitting down 1,200 gold at this stage in the game. This man needs to slow it down and wait for some jungle ganks because he is not doing it on his own.
And you also see his items. 3 Doran's rings, obviously, you know, it's AP, it's sustain, it's okay, but it's not as optimal as one of the bigger tier items here in this game. You're not really a Singed where you can just stack Dark Seal and it's just really OP. You're a Diana, you know, you don't really spike until level 6 here in the bot lane. A little bit of support aggression. Just 2 supports pulling at each other's hair. Now you get back. Now you get back. But there you go. The ADCs have showed up. Lucian sliding on into that fight saying, I'm here, baby. But in the top lane, Hook gonna be landing as well. Just a lot of damage coming out from Nautilus here in this game. Diana roaming as well from that mid lane. Nautilus saying, what are you doing? And he's saying, I'm doing this. But in the top lane, Diana coming and picking up a kill for her troubles as well. Now sitting on 1, 2, and 0, and that's probably what she does need to get back into this game.
Picking up a little bit of a kill there. Diana getting the good roam off, and they're looking for the first blood turret as well. It's funny because Diana's one of those split pushing champions you don't really remember when you think of split pushing power, but Invade.
Oh, Olaf. Ghost was popped and has that Ragnarok available to him. He pops it as well with the pop of the Daisy. Undertow misses, but that's the true shot barrage hitting from the bot lane. Axe does not hit once again, but the shock wave maybe getting Orianna out of that fight. Finally, the tidal wave comes in, but does not make an impact. Even the TP coming in from the Jace. Shock blast does not hit. Bubble hits over from L358. Culling coming out, not doing too much damage. A very nice sidestep from every single member of this blue team. Looking for the dive there in that bot lane as well. Has to clear out that control award coming out from that support. Olaf is just saying, look, you guys are fighting there at the bot lane. I want this blue buff. Rest of the blue team pushing down into this bot lane. It looks like a dive, but if little Stevie is smart as well as the support, they will just back off and let the tower go.
They're going to let this one go for the time being, but they're thinking about it a little bit. They're like, some of these guys aren't very high health bars. But no, the Shock Blast lands. Does a little bit of damage, and they say, you know what, maybe not. Let's just play it safe.
Rotating from the top lane into the bot lane. That's absolutely beautiful here at 12 minutes into the game. The only tower left is that mid lane tower, and they can take it with the gold lead that they do have.
Yep, pick that one up there. Top lane, Lion Poner is able to stay alone for a little bit, still sitting behind in that farm and yet to come into his power spike here. He really needs that Bammy Cinder to get a little bit more trading potential down and get control the minion waves better. Working on this turret, but what he really needs to be doing is probably heading over to this mid lane and capitalizing on this Diana who's got this triple Doran's ring build. He can pair up very easily with amazing Wing Wang and burst this guy down with the amount of CC that he provides. So that's one way for him to find the effectiveness that he's looking for in this match.
To the skies there in the top lane, easily clears that minion wave, allowing or making Nautilus tank 2 shots, but he has the support from the rest of his team. Shield goes down into the top lane as well as that depth charge onto Red Flame. Shock Blast hits 2 people. Can he get the final Q off? He doesn't. The shield coming out from Orianna, but Olaf saying, I want to get into the fight. Undertow hits, but as well as the shockwave hits onto one people. Even the ultimate coming out from Ezreal there in the bot lane. Fizzy trying to get the blast going over the wall. He gets it, but runs right into a Lulu. Even the Diana there puts the bush down, but can't get out of that. So Mano picking up a kill for himself there in that top lane, making the rest of his team 8 and 5.
The I think I can mentality coming through here for the blue team. The Relegades just chaining in one after another, saying maybe I can pick up these kills. No, maybe you know, one more time, maybe I can get these kills. And it just ends up netting them more losses than they really bargained for. They're still sitting up in the lead, but they don't want to continue playing that way. Otherwise, they're going to give it up.
Ooh, TP coming in from this red team. Nautilus is looking for blood. He has the flash and that hook available to him. So if that opportunity did come up, he could have went for it, but no. Ultimates are up from Amazing as well as his own. Undertow again does not hit. FOF White Raw popped the ghost. He doesn't have the Ragnarok just yet, but tried to look for an advantage onto the fish there. Couldn't really find it as well. Nautilus coming down from that top lane, looking for a hook, but couldn't find it for the time being. He's looking for one onto Samano, but hook goes wide, as well as the Q coming out from Ivern there. Ivern's actually going back into his own jungle when this dragon is spawning, and it's that Wind Dragon, and the blue team wants it, but the red team can't let them have it.
The red team really needs to get in position here. Once again, White Raw really likes to have that movement speed, and it also makes it very a lot easier for Diana to get into position to jump on that backline as well. White Raw looking like he wants to go for a dive here, but I think they're just going to collapse and try to go for that dragon. But red team in position to respond.
Don't fight more than you can chew, buddy. Just go right for the objectives that you know you can get and maybe get a pick in return. A double bubble there, as well as the two-man shockwave catches Lulu with her pants around her ankles. But you also see that Nautilus is coming in, but the shock blast as well. Getting the snipe there. Olaf dying as well. Daisy is chasing a target, but Diana's looking for blood, but cannot find it for the time being. Nautilus as well hooks up a wall, but that's not the target that you want to get. Gets the auto attack as well. Maybe the red team or the blue team can turn it around. Finds one kill into the back line, but can't find any more. Samano as well is over that wall. Qs upon Qs using the range of Ezreal is definitely needed, but this red team coming up with that fight. A 3-for-1 trade for them.
Yeah, the red team doing a fantastic job there. Barney's Brigade just managing their cooldowns properly. Great brush check coming out of L358. Nets them a huge advantage and gives them the ability to deny this air drake from the Relegades. So hopefully they're able to use that movement speed to their advantage and get themselves into some advantageous positions. Orianna doing a fantastic job this game as Amazing Wing Wang has landed multiple clutch shockwaves as his team goes in for these fights. So the movement speed is going to allow him to get in position so that the snap range for his command protect doesn't end up screwing him on some of these shockwaves. So hopefully the Barney's Brigade keep playing around this mid laner and just make sure that they snowball this lead even further.
Blue team now collapsing on this mid lane tower. This is the only tier 1 tower that they do need to kill. But also Red Flame Evolved is in that bot lane, tries to land the shock blast, but it does not matter. A lot of damage coming out from him there in that bot lane, but Fizzy is there as well as the Nautilus. He's going to be getting hooked up. Little Stevie picking himself up 1 kill for his shovels as well, sitting 4-1-1 here on the Lucian. And again, this Bork is just way too strong.
Yeah, it's very good, but the thing that's disgusting is the fact that Red Flame Evolved almost just one-shot little Stevie without even landing the shock blast. Yeah. That's Riot. That's not okay. That's too much. Let's dial it back a little bit. All he did was point and click on that, man. You can't just. Yeah. How are you supposed to outplay that?
You're right. I didn't mean to say OP because it was actually the item that made ADCs like a half-decent role again. The ADC in 2017 meme is slowly dying with that buff, and whoever buffed Bork, kudos to you, buddy. You made the role, in a sense, relevant a lot more than it was before. But anyways, here 17 minutes into this game, getting vision around this Rift Herald, as the Baron is going to be spawning in 2 minutes, just trying to get as much vision around it as possible. But maybe if they can get the exact same vision as they are right now, this red team, then a Baron is very possible once come that 20-minute mark.
If they have their Nautilus with them, Barney's Brigade can easily go for a turret dive here. They've got the combo potential with Amazing Wingwang's Orianna Shockwave, so if they can get him down there and look for that aggressive play, they might be able to make something happen a little faster. But right now, they've got Lion Poner up in the top lane trying to split push to counteract Jace in the bottom lane, and it's obvious which one of these champions is going to take the turret down faster. Red Flame Evolved has so much more AD that it's going to be no contest. He takes the turret down, and he might even look to keep going here. Lion Poner needs to back up like right now.
Yeah, he can very well keep going with a very large minion wave and just how strong Jace is, and even where their own team is in this mid lane. If they just all stay in this mid lane, they don't rotate into the bottom lane, they get that mid lane tower and just focus it down, they can get just one more tower here in this game. But a little bit of confusion coming down from Diana in the Lulu. Lulu goes towards that bot lane to provide that support for the Jace, but Nautilus as well picks up a tower for his troubles. A 4-2 tower advantage going on over the blue team, and it looks like it's not going to stop there.
The dominance of the Relegades is pushing through. Their team fights are looking a little bit wonky, but they've got so much turret pressure that they're allowed to just continue to muddle that up for a bit longer here. The problem comes when they run out of available turrets to take. Sandwalker potentially caught here.
Yep, hook is landed onto Lulu there in that small corridor, as well as Lucian. He finds a Q, and even Fizzy goes in on the wrong Q there. Undertow hits #1 as well as the Smite. Daisy comes from the sky as the help. True Shot Barrage taking out him. Even the Redemption coming down from the sky. Shockwave does not hit onto really anybody. Even Nautilus is just stuck at the back of the fight. Double kill so far. Even one more kill going on over to this blue team squad. Bubble lands, but it doesn't matter. L3 almost gets one shot. Can she land one more Crescent? Samano as well, taking one too many tower shots. She falls. The Crescent as well lands.
What is happening?
White Raw is dying to all of these towers. What are you guys doing? A 4-for-2 trade right now, but those two deaths could have been prevented.
And that team fight shows exactly what I'm talking about here. The Relegades have such weird team fights. Like, they get the catch on Fizzy early on, end that fight before it can really even start, and then they just blow it on turret.
Oh, a double bubble there, right in their own base. Shock Blast hits, but it doesn't even matter. The slow doesn't connect from Fizzy. Red Flame Evolved. You've just done the water challenge, or whatever it was called. I don't know why I made that reference.
The ice bucket challenge, something like that.
Ice bucket challenge, there you go. He gets ice bucket challenge right there in the Dude, that meme was like 3 years old. I don't know why.
Yeah, I know, dude. I was like, this guy's pulling it out from his back pocket. I don't know. I don't know about all this.
References upon you gotta try whatever you can, man. Whatever comes to mind, you say. And I said it, but it was a huge fail.
That's fine, dude.
Yeah, dude. 21 minutes in the game, 14-13. Very nice counter, I guess, engage coming out from this red team. Notice that the blue team was staying way too long and just capitalized on it.
Yeah, the The Relegades have to clean up their team fight right now because they've run out of turrets that they can easily take. The last one up in the top lane is that inner tower, so if they can get that one, they're done basically, and they've got to start sieging onto the enemy inhibitor towers, which are very difficult to take because you're staring down a Nautilus who's just looking for an opportunity to CC you all and set up the Orianna Shockwave. So they've got to either start getting their team fights cleaned up and start manipulating their movement inside them much better, or they need to pull the enemy out from their base and start threatening them with the Baron buff. And even that's a little bit of a risky situation because at the 22-minute mark, they're only sitting on a 2k gold lead. That's not really enough to really carry them through over their mistakes that they've been making in these team fights.
In the top lane, a lot of auto attacks upon auto attacks are trading. A little bit of a glitch. Remake question mark going out there in that top lane. Death charge as well lands. But Diana is putting a lot more pressure there in that top lane. Brigade finds one kill onto Nautilus there. But it opens a huge window for this blue team to capitalize on that blue buff as well as that dragon here spawning in this game. The red team is hovering around this infernal dragon, but just going to be backing off as well.
I think they could have engaged there. I don't see any reason not to. The culling was fully available on Lil Stevie. He's got no Bork to really shred through armor, but then again, there's no armor to really shred through. Just throw it down on the enemy team, throw L358's ultimate, and get Fizzy in there to try to get an ultimate with Amazing Wing. I mean, you've got to start throwing down the pressure here. I guess you can wait for these guys to make a mistake, but then again, the Muramana just finished on Samano, so you need to capitalize on these situations where you've got additional damage sources. Otherwise, the Ezreal damage absolutely obliterates health bars. He's got no Bork right now, but even with just the Muramana, these Mystic shots destroy health bars if they make contact.
Yeah, it's a very nice engage that they could have done there, but just backs off to safety. As well in the bot lane, aggression, the 1-3-1 split. You love this, I love this. This acts as a lot of, I guess, confusion over for the enemy team. Diana going into the fight, she uses her ultimate onto L3. Auto attack after auto attack from both of these champions. The Krugs as well helping for the troubles. Olaf was over the wall but could not get right into that fight as well. Lucian, the culling is coming out, but it looks like it doesn't matter, as well as the knockback redemption is way too late for the time being. Even Nautilus is there, doesn't get shock blast because of the minions. Thank you very much.
What?
Both lands. What the heck?
What is that hitbox?
What the heck is
that? That was at the very tip of the range there, but once again, we see the power of this Jace coming through, able to turret dive Lil Stevie completely, and even with the lifesteal that he's got and the Bork to slow him down, he still just gets burst out. It's real unfortunate for him there, but Black Cleaver complete hopefully means that he can stay alive a little bit longer, and the additional cooldown reduction gives him the mobility that he's looking for to kite out some of this damage. So maybe Lil Stevie can be a little bit more effective here, but this team really needs to be playing around this frontline tank if they really want to come back into this game. Nautilus needs to be out front. They need to group as 5 because there's no real good splash damage outside of Jace Shock Blast on the enemy team. So if if Barney's Brigade can get together and look for that knock-up, they should be able to find some good fights. I don't see why they're not playing a little bit together. They cannot succumb to this 1-3 run. Just engage on the 3 and get 3 kills for yourself.
Once you do that, once you do get the 3 kills, it almost kind of makes your side lanes just freak out a little bit because you're like, wait, the 3 guys in the mid lane just got engaged on. What exactly do I do? Do I keep pushing this in, or do I go back to defend? And it can make for a very good, I guess, type of skirmish and very good type of confusion here in this game. But that's not going to be happening so far. We see that Diana's in that bot lane now. Jace is in the top lane. 3 members are cycling towards this Baron, just clearing out any of the wards that they can, creating that confusion that these teams love to create. Even in the mid lane as well, Olaf and Ezreal just grouped there, but slowly making the rotations all over the map. Diana backs off for the time being, and Jace as well.
Great vision control coming out of the Relegades. They recognize that they don't want to get engaged on, and the perfect way to do that is to remove that vision. Remove any sort of flank options, teleport positions, or anything like that.
Oh, true shot barrage as well as the undertow. You're done, buddy. Get smited. Olaf picking up 1 kill, pops that Ragnarok, chasing Fizzy down like a rat there in the back line. Even Ezreal is right there. He eased out of the way, even flashing, but Nautilus is slowly going to die there. Even L3 gets Q sniped there by Samano. Even in the bot lane, flashing out of the way just in case any shock wave did connect. But nothing gonna happen there in that bot lane for the time being. The rest of the blue team are going towards this top lane. They want this last tower, and they got it for themselves. They have their sights on the inhibitor, even in the bot lane. Shockwave's down. It opens up an opportunity for Diana, but Fizzy is slowly coming there, strutting his stuff on the Ivern, but is getting a little bit confused. He doesn't really know what to do here at 26 minutes in the game. The enemy team is pounding away at your top lane inhibitor, buddy. Why are you bot lane? I don't really know, but that's going to be the blue team getting that inhibitor very easily. Even Diana just backing off for the time being. Pings are going down onto the Baron, and they can maybe do it here in this game.
Potentially. They don't have the Bork finished up on Ezreal, so that's a little bit of their percent health damage missing in this this clear, but do you have a decent chunk of damage coming out of the Olaf as his health gets low, and if they group up with their Diana, the on-hit is fantastic.
Oh, that's the Shock Blast. The True Shot Barrage does not hit, but it doesn't even matter. Red Flame evolved. There you go, buddy. You picked yourself up another kill, making yourself even here in this game. A very nice catch onto L3 there on that Nami. But even the Baron is getting shot out here right now by the Relegades. But the red team does not even want to contest.
Yeah, the lack of vision actually causes these guys to completely back up from the side of the map altogether. They give up a free Baron buff and extend the enemy lead up to 9k. Wow, they actually find that recall there. Nice.
That was very close. It was just in the last little second of that recall, and she got it. But didn't really expect anyone to be in there at the moment, so she just QW'd and then walked away.
Yeah, nothing to really follow up there. You don't want to expend that ultimate on just the support who's just looking to keep the team alive, and nothing else that they can take off of that kill. No reason to really go for it there, but that's going to be a waiting game for these guys. One inhibitor down in the top lane means that they have to defend these last two inhibs, and with Baron minions coming through, it's going to be difficult for them to do, but they look like they might be able to pick up an Infernal.
This blue team wants this Infernal, but the red team is saying nay, nay. Lulu is going towards that, and even Jace is in that bot lane. Bubble goes wide. Even the True Shot Barrage hits Fizzy. But Olaf is coming in with the Ragnarok, but couldn't get the Undertow onto that. That's going to be the Shockwave landing on Shimano. Doesn't even matter. Fizzy is in the pit right now. Gets shot after shot. Olaf picks up a kill. Even the Shock Blast killing that Lucian. Diana is in the enemy base. Double kill for the Ezreal. Blue team is looking to close out this game. Let's see if they can do it here at 29 minutes into the game. To the skies coming now. Even that depth charge onto that Nautilus. Very slowly taking him down. Yes. They've found their ace. They have the minions in the enemy base. 29 minutes into the game. 25 to 15. 59k to 47k. Relegades, you guys have picked yourselves up game number 1 of this best of 2 set.
Well played by the Relegades, getting in there with the aggression and making it shine through. So doing a very good job putting this this game to rest. So yeah, GG Relegades.
GG. All right, after that victory from the Relegades, we all have one question on our mind. Can Relegades close off the series and get 3 points? Or can Barney's Brigades come out or come back from that loss? All of these questions will be answered, but one more question I have for you, Stretch, is who was the MVP of that game?
It's interesting, right? Because there's a lot of good movement coming out of both teams. The one thing I will say is, let me look at these damage charts before I say anything, because it might just completely overshadow everything. Jesus Christ! All right, so Jace, the Jace for the viewers at home. Let me show this chart real quick so you understand.
Jesus.
Yeah. Jace does that ungodly amount of damage. I was expecting Ezreal to be on top, but
yeah. No.
Red Flame Evolved just does so much damage on that Jace. But the thing is, it doesn't really come down to damage, right? I think that a big amount of this game was determined by some of the bot lane play. And a lot of it came from Fizzy, too, because he was super ambitious on some of these invades. But right. I am going to pass the MVP of this game over to Red Flame Evolved. So much pressure coming out of this guy, and the damage he dealt in this matchup was just absolutely ridiculous. Being able to push back team members and make sure that they cannot go for any of these objectives that they're looking for means that it opens up the gates for your team to close the game, and with how wonky their team fights were going, they need some of this poke coming out before it starts for them to really have an advantageous position. So GG to the Relegades.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, with game number 1 out of the way, we still got one more game of tonight. This is our last game overall, but stay tuned. We have the Relegades versus Barney's Brigades, game number 2, coming back in just a couple of seconds. Stay tuned.